After 5 years of full stack software development, I've worked as full-timer, I've worked as a contractor, I've worked as a freelancer, I had a number of clients, and I've made a lot of mistakes on negotiating my salary, but as well as I learned a lot of lessons on when it came to negotiating the same salary. And within this video, what I'll be doing right now is giving you some of the top lessons that I have learned while I was negotiating the salary, some of the helpful tips that helped me quite a lot, and that is something I'm doing right now. And I'm hoping that those tips will help you when you'll be negotiating your salary. And let's get started. So the first tip I'll give you is that you have to familiarize yourself with the salary trend. And the way I do that is I'll use multiple resources. I'll go on Indeed, I'll go on Glassdoor, I'll go on Banzai. I will use all of those resources, all of this information in order to understand what is it the range is, what is the salary is right now currently for the very same position I'm applying for in my location for exact same people who are right now working at those positions. So let's say right now you're applying for a backend developer position. What you want to do is compare that to whatever Indeed is asking, Glassdoor and the Banzai at the same time. And based on that information, you can start applying to jobs and asking for that salary. But what you can do as well is, let's say right now for a junior backend developer position you have currently in your location, you're asking for in the range of 45 to 55,000 annually. Well, don't be afraid to extend just a little bit. So instead of asking for like 45 to 55, increase the range from 47 to 57,000 annually and see what do they have to say about that. If a recruiter comes back to you and saying that that salary is a little bit too high, would you consider to go lower? Well, that's where you can negotiate your price. So if they say it's a little bit too high, you can ask for extra vacation days. Or if you're in school right now, or let's say you're applying to take some sort of a classes right now within your niche, within your profession, well, you can ask them to check if they can pay half of it or if they can pay fully, depending on how big the class is or how expensive it is. But you do have a lot of rooms for negotiating your salary or what it is they can help you with. And if you're planning to be a contractor, well, Banzai is a perfect platform for that because you can do your calculation based on your location, years of experience, what is it you're trying to do, planning to do, and it will give you a number, an average number. What is the salary people are asking for hourly? And that's where a lot of people also not entirely sure how to calculate their hourly wage, because it's not that an easy task. I mean, like as a full-time employee, let's say as a junior developer, I could be getting $25 an hour. But as a contractor, am I still going to be getting $25 an hour or is it more? Tip number 2, build a very strong case when it comes to negotiation. Now, you come to a recruiter and you start to negotiate, they will ask you a question. Well, why do you think we should increase your salary? Or why do you deserve it? Can you tell me a few things about that? This is where you start to paint them a picture of yourself, or what is it you've done in the past, where you see you're heading into the future. What does it make you different from other developers? So let's say right now you're going to an intermediate, or even if it's a junior and you have done very similar work in the past, you can always talk about your previous project and what is it you're trying to accomplish in there. So let's say in your previous project, what you're trying to accomplish is the performance of your application. That's why you can talk about it, of how you did it, why did you do it, or what was the main use case. Those are the type of things you want to talk about it, because believe it or not, whatever it is you're doing in the past, those things are applicable right now to the job you're applying for, because that's what they're looking for. That is exactly what they're trying to accomplish. If it is for performance, if it is for scalability, if it is learning new technologies in order to optimize or make something better in one aspect of a code base, that is exactly what they want as well. But don't overdo it, because if you overdo it and you don't have a proof of it, well, then you're setting yourself for failure. And that is not what you want, because even if, let's say, you did manage to get it and right now you're at that position, right now you're at that job with a salary you want, problem is that now you have to maintain it. Now you have to prove of all the things you have mentioned in the past. And that's why you want to be very careful, very cautious with what is you're saying when you're trying to stand yourself out. Point number 3, do factor check in those benefits and perks that the company is providing to you. If you're working as a full-time employee, you gotta ask yourself, what is it that's very, very important to you personally? Because each one of them is different from one another. Especially these days today, we gotta work remote, we're not going to the office anymore. And what ends up happening is that for some of them, they will keep that as a full-time possibility, you working remote. Even after when everything opens up, you don't have to go to the office anymore, you can always work from home. Maybe that is something that you want, maybe that's something you don't like, that is something for you to take a look at as well. And those are the way the flexibilities comes in. They are also not set in stone. Some of them can be negotiable if, let's say, they don't provide of possibility of working from home once a week whenever things open up. That is something for you to negotiate. It doesn't matter if you're a junior, intermediate, senior. That is your right to negotiate, and whatever it is that will work for you, will work for you. But if you're working as a contractor, freelancer, having this type of a benefit may not be a thing for you. However, that's why you'll be asking for more salary, because you don't have that specific coverage. You cannot just simply get a healthcare from them. You cannot just get a retirement pension from them. That is something where you have to negotiate your salary a lot higher. That's why for contractors, freelancers, we get more money because we don't get those specific perks. Now, the last point that I want to talk to you about, and that is something actually happened to me, is that when I did negotiate my salary and negotiate everything that it is I wanted, the mistake I've made is that not reading the contract fully, even though we did talk about it, we talked about it over the phone call, but unfortunately it was not a mail communication. And when I was signing the contract, I only noticed after a week, 2 weeks in, is that some of the demands that I've set myself, they weren't in writing as well. They weren't there at all. And it was too late to go back because, again, this is just business, right? It was on me, the fact that I didn't proof check the contract, that I didn't proof read it, and I just signed it, gave it to them. I just read a few things. I didn't finish reading all the way. And that is something that you have to do. Whenever you are signing something, read it first. Make sure that whatever your demand was in the first place is there, because you could negotiate whatever the salary it is you want. But what it matters when it comes to taxes, if you need to go to a law court, well, I hope you don't have to go to a law court for that, but it will be written in paper that, let's say, your salary will be, an hourly salary will be $45 an hour. The fact is you negotiated for $55. Well, there's nothing you can do. The lawyer will say, well, your signature is there. You didn't read it. That's on you. It's not on a company. And there's no written any agreement anywhere that you had this discussion with them, that you talked to them about your salary, about specific perks that you wanted. So when you are negotiating things, you do want to get it on a piece of paper, or not on a piece of paper, but you want to get that in writing. You want to make sure that it's there and go from there. Oh, and to give you one of my back stories right now, I'm currently in the middle of negotiating the salary for this specific developer position, a web developer position. And to me personally, I do not like the salary because of all the job responsibilities that I have to do. And as we're negotiating, I'm about to drop this, by the way, because they do not meet my minimum number. The amount of responsibilities I'll be taking on as an intermediate senior developer, it doesn't match the salary. And the one thing to point out here, by the way, is that they need me more than I need them. So if they're not going to increase that, let's say $55 an hour salary to a different number, like $10 increase minimum, increase that salary, if they don't do that, then it's not worth my time. It's not worth it, because they're not the only company out there. There are thousands and thousands of other companies that I can apply for where will meet my salary expectation. So the one takeaway from here is that the company needs you more than you need them. So if they see your resume, if they see your skill set, if they really, really like you, then they will increase the salary. But if they don't do that, then I just recommend to drop them, because again, it's not worth your time. It's not something that you want to work. You're not a slave. You don't want to have all these years of experience and just wasting them at the job that you used to work at 5 years ago or 3 years ago and getting exact same salary, you don't want to do that. You want to keep on progressing, because if you'll be working at the position that with the salary you used to make 3 years ago, well, guess what? There is an inflation. Every year it increases by 2 years. So which means right now in 3 years time, you're making exact same position, exact same salary. You're pretty much losing money. You're not making any. It might look like on the paper, but with all the inflation, with all the things increasing in price, you're not doing yourself any favor. You're just working for somebody else. You're helping them. You're not helping yourself. So those are the things to keep in mind when you're looking for a client, when you're looking for a full-time job. And I hope it helps you guys. I hope it helped. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, leave a comment down below. I will go back to it. I will answer it as best of my abilities. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you're getting value out of this video, please don't forget to subscribe, to like this video, and I'll see you in the next video.